Hi, everybody. Hi to everyone who's watching the replay. It is Hallie and Quinn once again with the Hallie Quinn Show. And we are here to talk about trusting in your triggerness or trusting the trigger. Trusting the trigger. What? What are you talking about? I am triggered. So I know that we all have things that make us feel like fire, like it's almost like we can't hold it in anymore and we need to release it. And usually this happens with an interaction with somebody else, whether you're in a relationship with somebody or you're dating somebody or even with family members, even with friends or coworkers at work, customers that come in and just tick you off. So this came up because we both have triggers. I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't? And we want to talk about what to do after that. That's what we want to talk about. We'll bring in personal experiences. We'll bring in how we can trust, like just painting a picture of what the process can look like for you so that you're not going around feeling kind of like almost like helpless because you don't know what to do and you're seeing these emotions run your life. And then you're seeing yourself creating more chaos in your life, more pain in your life, more stress. And it's like, okay, something needs to be like adjusted. So we want to share our thoughts and our stories with this. And so we even wrote down some things. So Hallie, in your experience, or what comes up for you when you're in moments where you're feeling triggered, whether it's from a relationship or a friendship, if you can think back, like how has it helped you to kind of like trust in like the time and the space that you allow yourself? Because oftentimes we want to talk about it right away.
Yeah.
When we're feeling triggered.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if you've experienced where you did kind of like forcefully, like,
oh yeah,
and then the opposite. Yeah. So I'm curious.
Plenty.
Yeah.
And I think that's how you learn how to, just like to invite in more space to a trigger moment, is that you don't do that so many times in your life and you regret it and you make assumptions and you're like basically causing more pain to yourself and pain for another person, because like you're reacting from a triggered place. And it's not like our triggers aren't valid. That's the thing. It's
right.
Like, yes, our triggers are indication of our past experiences. They're also indications of our boundaries, like we get triggered when a boundary is being crossed. So they're really important to look at. They're important information. And there's a way to skillfully deal with your triggers and a way to unskillfully deal with your triggers. And like kind of like the only way to deal with them skillfully is to not react in the moment and to like give yourself some time to cool off, to process, to have some self-reflection, to do some journaling, to do some meditation, whatever you got to do.
Go work out,
burn off some steam,
And that right there, I feel like that is where so many of us struggle with. We are so used to having someone there. We're so used to that behavior of exploding on somebody or kind of like texting right away or like being in someone's face right away. And so it's like, okay, now you're asking me to go somewhere else. Yes, we're asking you to go somewhere else because you'll be so proud of how you handled it.
The experience of being triggered is like you feel like someone is causing you harm. So you feel very justified. You feel very justified in like your righteous position on the matter. Whether or not that person is trying to hurt you intentionally, like it feels like they are.
Yeah.
And so when you come at them from the assumption that they're doing something that's hurting you, first of all, you're giving your power away to them, you're saying that I am powerless over you and your behavior, which is not fun to feel disempowered in that way and to like give it away, right? But also it's like there's so much in the unseen realm and our mind is filling in all of these stories and all of this meaning, and it's like we can't trust what our mind is doing.
Mm-hmm.
So even if the behavior from the other person doesn't necessarily feel great and doesn't feel like it's honoring, you know,
Right.
We don't know what's going on with them. We don't have all of the dimensions to that.
Right. I love how you're adding dimensions. It's almost like within that space, right? Like not only are you creating space for yourself to like check in on yourself and process, but you'll be able to have the space to like see what's going on with them or taking consideration of like, what's going on with them? You know, maybe it is not me, it's them. You know, they're going through their own stuff.
Well, and we were talking about how like part of what trusting the trigger is like trusting that you're either going to get your time to process with that person when the time is right, and you don't have to control that, or the relationship is going to naturally take a different course and you're going to naturally go your separate ways because that's what's in the highest. But you have to trust that journey. You have to trust that like you're going to get to the highest outcome through doing the opposite of what you think that you should do when you're hella triggered.
Right, because we know you have evidence to see what the result of that has been.
Yeah.
So if you're ready and you would like to experience something else that actually has you feeling maybe more clarity or having more of an understanding of yourself and the other person, or being even more empathetic and understanding, you can at least move on or flow on with that.
Yeah.
Right? And then you'll feel so proud of yourself. So we know what the opposite looks like. We're here saying maybe there's a polar opposite to that experience that you can start kind of nudging yourself against this other path. And this is where you can be open for support, because when we're entering into the unknown, this is when community matters. This is when hiring a coach matters.
A friend.
Yeah, who gets it and who will continue to encourage you. And this is where you take into account of your surroundings as well. Yeah. That promotes taking this realm of creating space for yourself and releasing in healthy ways to get to this place where you can move on, you can continue to grow with the truths and the realizations and the clarity and the understanding, the love that you created for yourself in that moment. And you're not letting that triggeredness continue to run your life.
Yeah.
And just continue to be being triggered and triggered and triggered. And what's coming up for me too is that like when we don't choose to create that space for ourselves to release and process that trigger, there's more fire that's growing inside of us. So then the triggers actually continue even more.
And then it's like a big explosion. So this is the balance, right? Because it's like don't just like act on the explosive like feeling, right? So we're saying like invite space into the process, but also like have your release. Like
that has to
have
be there.
Your process.
Express
Talk it out,
yourself.
Run it out.
Yeah, run it out. Oh yeah.
You know, like get it out, and then like hopefully, if the situation calls for it, you can show up to a conversation from a more grounded, centered place where you do get to speak your truth and your experience, and you don't have to deny any of that, and you can be really clear and upfront with all of that. But it's not from a place of like, you're doing me wrong, you're causing me harm, blame, which is only going to push away the other person. And oftentimes I feel like we get triggered when we want connection and we're not getting it, or we want space and we're not getting it. And usually either one of those, when we're being reactive in our trigger, we are going against our actual desire, right? So if like I'm triggered because I want more connection with you, and then I'm like, Quinn, like, dude, you're not hitting me up enough, right?
You're not showing up for me.
That's probably gonna make you want to take more space from me.
Exactly.
Right?
Like, ooh, there's fire. Oh, I need to stay away.
That doesn't feel safe. That doesn't feel warm and comfortable. And like, so it's we get what we don't. We get more of what we don't want.
Yes.
When we act in a triggered place.
Yes. Correct. I love that you brought up the we notice that we're triggered either when we're not getting what we want, or we're not getting the type of connection that we want. So we force upon it. which is expectations.
Yeah.
We force the expectation, and that actually creates disconnections. It's driving away what you wanted in the first place.
Yeah.
And then second, we're triggered because we actually don't have the space that we get. So that invites you to kind of reflect on your day and like what you have set up, so you know exactly where you need to be, what you need to do when you're triggered.
Mm-hmm.
Because that space is missing perhaps from your life. And I love how you brought up, it looks like perhaps journaling to create that space. Perhaps it looks like letting off some steam. How are you expressing yourself? Meditation. I mean, we hear all those healthy outlets, and that's where the space is.
Yeah, it's like
That's where you find all the good stuff. Yeah.
How are you coming back into your own experience, into your own body, into your own power, into your own mission, into your own heart? Like, because when we're triggered, we're very disembodied. We're very much about like what's happening over there with that person. Let me make up all the stories. Let me like weave the web of all of my past hurts that are probably true about this situation too. You know, we're like not in the now.
And we're not in ourselves.
We're not in ourselves.
We're out to other people. We want to just, it's almost like you want to just throw rocks at somebody else versus, okay, hold on, let me check in with myself.
Yeah,
why am I triggered? Yeah, let me come back. Let me come back home.
Let me come back home. And we come back home by like focusing on the things that make us feel good.
Yes. So with that said, we do have some support that we offer. Hit us up. We actually have a workshop coming up next Monday. It's called Heart Filter. This is going to help you tremendously because we're going to do some work. We get to really look at like what we need to keep out for the time being, because we're healing. We're hurt. We need to feel safe. What will we allow in that is safe for us, right?
Yeah, like how can we use discernment in connection so that we are staying healthy and like empowered and
on our path
and in ourselves,
in our flow, you know, because you know, we get to feel happy, right? We're good people. We get to feel happy with ourselves a little bit more often. So that's coming up next Monday, and we do meditate and conversate once a week. Left it all up there. Check us out, and we'll be back next week with another topic. Feel free to give us any topics that you would like for us to cover. I'm sure there's so much going on, and we're going to always continue to share topics related to self-love, healing, pains, right? Because we're going to grow together. Alrighty, any last words with this patient? What is it? Trust
in the trigger.
triggers.
Yeah, last thing is that like triggers are like be kind to your triggers. You know,
because they're pains, basically.
They're pains. Everyone has them. We all go through them. No one is free of them, and so like let's give them let's honor them and honor their power. And be nice to them.
Let's be nice to our triggers.
Yeah.
Because that means you're hurt.
Yeah.
Really hurt. Alrighty, we will see you guys next week. See everybody next week.
Bye.
Bye.